Hello and welcome to Risk and Crisis Communication, the Domino's Pizza scandal of 2009. Today we're going to look at an overview of the scandal, Domino's response, links to the offending videos, the impact of social media, the good and the bad, and crisis theory in action. In 2009, on a hot Saturday night on the 12th of April in Conover in North Carolina, two Domino's employees working in a franchise store took their creative talents to a really weird place when preparing a pizza. The male counterpart placed cheese up his nose, nasal mucus on the pizza itself, and breached many other health code regulations and standards, all while being filmed by a fellow employee who also narrated the whole affair. Whilst they attempted to keep the location of the restaurant anonymous, they did nothing to hide their identities, and after posting 4 videos to YouTube, the offending location and persons of interest were pinpointed using the mega power of social media. If you are interested in looking at the videos themselves, here they are, all 4 of them in their wonderful glory. They do come with a caveat. If you are interested, there's a very strong chance that you may be offended from them. I got through one of them and that was enough for me, so I'll leave it with you. The links are there. They're actually quite hard to find now, but if you are interested, there they are. Okay, so just some stats that you might find interesting, just the juggernaut that is social media. The event is a great example of the reach and power of social media and really how quickly things can go viral. Here's some interesting statistics for you. In the 6 hours after the videos were posted, it shows the number of hits on Google and how many Google searches were actually done. And this is just in the US. And it does say there the pizza video during a 6-hour period on the April 21st. It's actually they actually meant April the 12th. It's just those numbers were transposed. As you can see there, the disgusting Domino's search terminology was used over 3,500 times. So the reach of social media is unbelievable. This next graph shows us the number of blog posts about the incident. Excuse me, by date. Please note the spikes on the 13th, 14th and 15th of April. And in this last graph here, this is generated using Google Insights, which is a data analytical tool. Shows that it made the news every day from the 12th all the way through to the 21st. You'll notice the spike on the 14th, 15th and 16th. And I'll actually tell you why in a second, why there was that spike. Okay, so after being alerted to the videos on YouTube by some savvy customers, Domino's corporate execs immediately got involved and sent out an organisation-wide alert to identify the perpetrators and the offending location. Initially, they made an official apology. Now, these apologies that you can see here were made by Tim McIntyre, who was the head of communications. He did make these on the website, on a website called The Consumerist, who also reposted the offending videos just to alert Domino's to the situation. But they also quickly realised that this is not going to cut it. They needed to do more. Okay, if you're wondering what the 2 perpetrators actually look like, here they are here. Within a few days, they were both identified. They both found themselves out of a job, obviously, and they were facing felony charges of delivering a prohibited food. Despite claiming the pizza itself was never delivered and was promptly and properly disposed of, understandably, the Michigan-based Domino's headquarters went into full-scale damage control, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So after waiting a good 48 hours, Domino's finally opened a dedicated Twitter account to deal with the incident and with the inundation of customer inquiries and customer concerns. And what they also did was they recorded an apology from the Domino's president himself, Mr. Patrick Doyle, posted it on YouTube, which is the very same platform, as you know, that these offending videos were launched. If you are interested in hearing the full apology, you can hear by clicking on that link. Okay, so what did they do well? They did a number of things well. They used the CEO to respond to the video. Now, using the CEO actually conveys the magnitude of the situation, showing that Domino's themselves took their situation very seriously. They also opened the Twitter account. It did take some time, but they did open a Twitter account so they could respond to customer complaints and customer concerns in real time. What did they not do so well? As I've mentioned, they made it full 48 hours. A couple of things that they obviously didn't have in place were an internal social media policy and no social media training and social media etiquette for their employees. So that's something that they could have addressed prior to, but I'm sure that they addressed later on. And they obviously had no crisis communications plan. So they acted very reactively rather than proactively, even in this kind of situation. Okay, so the situational crisis theory, crisis communication theory by Timothy Coombs states that the communications activities are essentially predicated on the perceived impact to the stakeholders, or in this instance, the customers. So the perceived impact to the customers of the incident itself. So basically what that means is that the communications activities that you should undertake are commensurate with the perceived impact to the customer or the stakeholder. So in this situation, because Domino's took this very seriously, so their perceived impact to their customer was the impact was going to be significant. They had a very real risk to their reputation, so they engaged the president of Domino's to deliver the apology himself, to place it on the very same platform where the offending videos were posted in the first place, and to open up that dedicated Twitter account. Basically, they did whatever they could possibly do to distance themselves from these two former employees, and also to ensure that this is a one-off situation, and that they would never. That they are working very hard to keep their reputation, their brand intact. Okay, and finally, look, they did do a really good job. Obviously, there was lots of lessons learned in terms of time wasted. I do know that because they waited so long, that initial 48-hour wait before they responded did mean that they were leaving themselves open to a whole lot of reputational risk and damage to their brand. But Domino's, even today, continues to be one of the most highly recognised brands in the food industry, and this is worldwide. This is not just in America, but worldwide. They have survived a number of other scandals since. Scandals in relation to, there was one recently in relation to working conditions and underpaying their staff. Now, again, they have survived really well. They are still one of the main players definitely in the pizza space, which is a very crowded marketplace. And it's something that we can, or definitely I can, learn a lot from and use their lessons learned going forward.